I've been thinking, and I've been thinking that now it is officially time to begin posting on a regular basis. This episode, or this broadcast, you're going to learn a little bit about me and see what got me going in this and why I even have this channel in the first place. The basis of this channel is to conjure thought in the minds of individuals in a positive direction. Now, morality and positivity is something that can be scrutinized, obviously, in a lot of different ways. But I'm going to go based on my take of it. I find positivity to be one of the best things to live in a positive mind frame, in peace, if possible, internally. So something that I can reveal that as a youth, I harbored quite a few insecurities. That's something that I can truly say. I was insecure about my body. That's one thing. I when I was really young, I thought it was like my nose was too big, and then this girl talked about my lips being black in elementary school, and that bothered me. And there are a compilation of things. I began to look at my body, and I body shame myself. Not to say that there possibly weren't outside influences, be it family, outside surrounding circumstances at school, or other people that may have said something that might have triggered me emotionally to feel a certain way about me. And so in evaluating that, I dig and go back to the root causes of, why was I so insecure at a young age. I can recall going to Astroworld with some of my cousins, and I remember, I was walking around there so down, so sad. They actually made this whole thing talking about me as we walked around Astroworld, like, all Johnny, all clunk, clunk, clunk. It was something else, but that was a phase in particular that I was going through at that moment, an unrealized phase. Things were not fully being revealed to me as to why I was feeling the way I felt, but I can look at some traumas that could have gotten me to that point. There are things that happen in our lives that are outside of our control, and as youth, it can be something as small as an adult telling us a story about something. And I'm equating this to my brother's experience, actually. He made a post about this, so I feel comfortable talking about it, where he had a food that he would not eat, and it took him years before he could begin to even attempt to eat the food, which he ate before, but he stopped after our father told us a story when we were young. And he's a few years younger than me, and nevertheless, it triggered something emotionally in him, and that alone made him avoid rice for years. Not to say that was a bad thing. My brother's fairly, I think it was all right. He was healthy. He's healthy. And I believe that without eating rice, it didn't affect him as far as health-wise. Other things that I could equate is just the environment. I mentioned school earlier. I was fortunate, in my perspective, to be in an environment that was cultural, yet I was introduced to quite a few other nationalities. here in Houston, Texas, I was on the southwest side for the most part, majority of my adolescence, so to speak. And you know, I met a lot of different types of individuals. Um, when I was in high school, I actually dated outside my race, and that was when I got some flack for at the time. But I also felt a certain type of way about that internally, um, and it had nothing to do with her individually, and it was the outside surrounding circumstances. No, not to say that I cared about how other people looked at it, but to hear certain things from, be it her father or my aunt, or, you know, and that played a role in in my actions, in my emotions, and in turn my actions. So I keep looking down because um, uh, I made some bullet points and notes. Now, along with the insecurities that stemmed from some of the root traumas that I had, was not feeling a lack of value. I felt there was a lack of value. I felt that my words, I actually prayed once. I was like, "Oh, I just want to be heard. I just want to be heard," which is not ironic that I'm doing something like this today. I was very young when I said that. And because I am hearing myself as I speak, I do want to apologize for all of the verbal pauses. I know that I'm saying and stuff a lot, and pausing in silence uh, quite a quite a bit. So I'm gonna apologize to you, but I'm not saying that it's about to stop, because this is unrehearsed, and that's actually something that I talked to one of my friends about, something being unrehearsed. So I'm going to throw in the movie Sinners here because I just recently watched it, and it's a topic of discussion. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because there are certain aspects of thoughts that were generated by this movie, so to speak. I keep saying, see, that's one of those verbal pauses when I'm saying so to speak also. And uh, there is some good that can be pulled out of it. I'm looking at my timer and I'm getting disgusted at myself at the moment, so forgive me. I've gone so far, I cannot mess up now. So I'll get back to the sinners thing. The lack of value that I felt, and me not being heard, I don't know exactly where that stemmed from, but I want to call it just, I really want to say my environment, because I've said that word already. Or maybe it plays a part on my culture or my family. Or was it just me? See, I'm bouncing things off and I don't have anyone to bounce it off of, but I'm bouncing it here. There was a part of me that felt like, well, nobody will value what I have to say or will even hear what I have to say. And this is, it's strange because it's like you're in a room full of people, or just say 3 or 4 people in the room, and we're having a discussion about something, or there's a conversation being held. When I want to speak, I speak soft. So even when I speak, I feel like, you know, other people around me who are, you know, more secure within themselves, are more confident with with their approach and their delivery. They're just speaking fluently and just going, and I attempt to interject, but it's overshadowed. Quick, boom, they loud, they boisterous, they steady going. Now that could have been, and possibly is one of the things that also led to that. But at the same time, there was something within me that I will just outright call fear of what someone might think of their perspective of my thought process. So, anyway, there's a lot going on within me, right? So, I mean, just, and this is from, I want to say maybe after 7-ish on up. I'm sure it was lingering, maybe 10-ish on up. But there are a lot of things that happened in my life when I was growing up, um, dealing as a youth, dealing with the loss of family members. And that's something, because to not have, or to have a minimal relationship, or to just have a certain type of connection, or feel that you have a certain connection with someone based on someone else's connection with the person. So because my relative is close to that individual, if that individual, it would affect. That's like your homeboy, your friend, and something happened to them. Now hey, I'm what it is. I got you. I'm right there. All right. So it's like that type of situation when it comes to stuff like that, that could have possibly and more than likely was a part of some of the insecurities that I held on to. But there are a plethora of others that I'm not going and verbalizing at the moment. I'm bringing up superficial things, which I feel are superficial, even though some of them are actually serious, and I dealt with seriously. Still am dealing with certain things at the moment, I would say, um, to a degree. But these are topics, and these are things that we as in humanity needs to bounce off of one another. We all have suffered from some form or other of, be it insecurity or depression, or um, you know some form of hardship internally, and we share a common thread. You're a different character in the movie of life, but we're all in the movie of life. So um, a part of me healing. Now, I've skipped so much to say I have a 21-year-old daughter. I spoke up to maybe high school, but there's so many aspects of my life that I feel I dealt with struggle. Um, Now, there are some things that were definitely self-imposed. I would say as a youth, based on surroundings, and when people talk about men, and oh well, men ain't supposed to cry, different things like nowadays, the conversation has changed quite a bit, but at a point, the conversation about men upholding a certain image. So if your father or if the male figure was around you, boy, toughen up, man up, and certain things are better left unsaid, or certain things are not spoken about at all, or you know there's a way of being just as a man, which nature revealed there's something about the masculine properties and something about the feminine properties also, but emotionally, in in our form of communication and being, there are certain things that definitely need to be expressed, in my opinion. So, in the aspect of healing, I I know that for me personally, and what I'm going to talk about is my direct experience. I want to conjure thought in your mind. Nevertheless, I don't want to impose my opinions as fact. Um, I'm, I feel like I'm not scholarly. I'm not a person that can say I've taken classes as teacher. The things that I have been fortunate to feel that I've gained knowledge on, which on this quest for knowledge is self-taught, but not even being, and it, I've learned things from people around me. I've learned things from um, textbooks. I've learned things from Google searches and YouTube, and well, I say those are actually not, well, they're areas to cultivate thought, to dig in and find avenues to do research and find there are resources to gain and to find what I need to find along the way. So I mean, like, I don't have all the books, a lot of books with me now. Well, all of them with me, but there's some here that I could that I've been given. Some that I've been given that are really good, and the Meditations is a really good one. Of course, the Bible, obviously. Mr. Yosef Ben Yakinen has a wonderful few books. Like, you can't see all these books. I'm not trying to show you everything I got over there. So, but for a healing aspect, for me, I I went into it with intention. So I went into the thought process, when I say of healing my mind, not having to live a certain way. When I say that, not having to feel a certain way as I live. Um, I I still pick up Newports and smoke them. It's some form of a guilty pleasure, but there's a part of me that said, you didn't need that as a child. All you needed was the air to breathe. So in thinking of healing, there's a way to go in it with intention, to clear the things out of the way that feel aren't necessary, serve you no purpose. And now, is vocalizing the best way? Is thought the best way? I couldn't be the one to say what is best for the individual. For you, I don't want to continue saying that word individual, but for you. And the reason I say that is because, yes, words are powerful. Yes, they are. I mean, I can holler, just say, as a child, I'm going back there because this is all like a origins type story. So as a child, my dad had a nice, you know, boisterous voice, if that's the correct word. It was, hey, and you hear, you get something like that, then it'll shake you physically. You'll feel it physically. So vocalizing things is not only just powerful that way, but also in the form of bringing things to light in manifestations. That's another topic. But prayer, it's a way of speaking things into existence, bringing things into your world. At the same time, before there can be vocalization, there is thought. So it starts internally first, I believe, in my opinion. And if that is the case, it can both can be tested, the vocalization and the thought. So I had a conversation with my wife, and in that conversation, she brought up, like, the aspect of, well, if she was gonna bake a cake, if she thought about it, hey, I think I'm gonna bake a cake today. And as the day went on, everything was going fine. the time just elapsed, and she was doing things around the house and look up and see the time. Was like, oh, I was supposed to be baking a cake. Now, the our concept of thought within that conversation was, well, did she vocalize, well, I want to make a cake, or was it just a thought? And was the universe, so to speak, um, God or the principalities or powers, um, working to test the thought efforts, or working to test that notion? Is that what is wanted? Is that what is desired? And is that what you are willing to act upon? So, it's something when it comes to the intentions going into healing, but I believe that there has to be clear intentions within yourself that this is what I am doing, and that is no matter what the test may be, because life's gonna happen regardless. I talked to my nephew about that. It's something to walk around like angry man. Now, somebody used to call me that back in high school. Or, it's something to be an asshole, or have that demeanor. Um, and it's not something that is always necessarily for the one who carries that demeanor. Something that they are carrying in peace, or joyfully. It may just be a state of being, but it could be them carrying traumas and holding insecurities, which is causing their outward behavior to look that way. So I think that an aspect, or a big part of the healing process for me was to acknowledgement of myself, the goods and the bads. I mean, and it's something that you have to go in reflective thought about. And that's a step before, I would say, before truly forgiving myself and anyone or anything that I felt might have, that I might be holding something against, or that I might need to just let go. Any and everything and everybody, that forgiveness part was I would say, the step that came after reflective thought. And reflective thought is, I think, what a lot of people in conscious communities consider shadow work. Now, there may be a little bit more ritualistic details in that, but it I'm almost sure it is, but it's something that you have to be completely honest with yourself about. Now, my brother told me, make sure you write down what you're gonna, at least some bullet points of what you're gonna talk about. And because I know my story, it's not that much that I would like to write down unless I'm writing it down. But I did write some notes here for this recording. And one of the notes was what I wrote, reflective thoughts. I wrote above it, honest. And I said, I hope I spelled that right. HONEST, honest. That's how you spell it. And then I looked at the word, and I say, if you take away the H and the T, you're left with ones. Now, I don't know why this is how I looked at it, but I'm telling you. Then I looked at it and I say, well, if I take out the N and the E, what's left is host. One's host. Being honest. To be honest, one's host. And I was like, why would my mind do something like that? And so I decided to go and pick up some of my study notes. Pick up my study notes, and when I picked it up. I picked up one of my spiral tablets, and when I opened it, yes, I'm writing on a spiral tablet. All right. So when I opened the spiral tablet, the first page was a page that it looked like I just stuck in there, and that page was gematria. It was word and number association. It was actually the Pythagorean aspect of numerology, and so I looked at the numbers to make it easier on myself. H is associated with or valued as the number 8, and T would be valued as the number 2. So that equals 10. And in that school of thought, then that 1 plus 0 will be a 1, because you add the two numbers together. That means 1. And I just thought that was significant. So the N and the E, the value of both the N and the E are 5. So that equals 10 also, which equals 1. And other schools of thought have their deals with numbers. And but that really was something that was significant to me in the specific aspect. So anyway, there's some things that I believe we all can utilize within ourselves to cultivate peace. If I was raised a Christian, in the Baptist church, and I still hold true to my Christian roots. Yet, my spirit cannot be confined, if I can say that much. And I say that much because it's like the air, the wind that blows, the air that we breathe that we cannot see. And I'm grateful for the awareness and the catalyst that Christianity and the Baptist church has been for me. And here is where I'm going to say something about sinners. So in that movie, yes, they introduced the Baptist church. Now, there's something in that movie about Chicago. I guess the twins were from Chicago. I will rabbit trail and go this way and have to circle back to my topic as long as I remember where I'm at. But I hope that that's the case right now. So Chicago is where the twins are from. And the twins, it's something. This year, January 2025 is where we are right now. And we're in the beginning of May. I believe May 1st, because today is the day that I said this is when it kicks off. So in January, I remember a couple of news stories that came out. One was about a coyote being in a Aldi's refrigerator or something. Then the next one was a coyote in O'Hare at the airport, on the runway or something. And I was like, that's strange. That's strange. To me, that was strange, but I was like, there's significance in it. There's something that's being shown in it. There's something there's a message there. So of course I go, what does a coyote symbolize? And I initially think about the coyote as in nature. I think about the associations and the relationship that the indigenous man here on this land has and with the coyote. And the coyote has some negatives. I'm only going to speak on the positive, which is adaptation. I think that is a very big thing. This whole conversation about my life story, for the most part, has been me adapting in some form as I am in my vessel on the waves of life. So the Baptist church, and I don't know if that was a Baptist church, but the church that was in the movie was there as a starting point for him, which was a starting point for me. Now, I played the drums, I sang in the choir. It was very prevalent in the church as a youth, and going on until I was in my 20s, early 20s. So the church played a role in my life in the very beginning, and it instilled values within me. Now, in that movie, those values were reflected in the character Sammy by him reciting the Lord's Prayer as proof that he studied, he showed his self-approval or repetition, or that he was learned in the way of the Christian church. Nevertheless, the reason the evil was there, based on the movie's premise, was because of the gift that he held, and because he used that gift. Now, his gift, I can't say that his gift saved him, but almost, I want to say that. I know that the guitar did not save him, but I do want to say that there's a concept of thought behind his gift being a saving factor. If this was, I love that movie. I mean, I love the way the movie was directed and put together. I like the way it was directed and put together. I love the movie myself. But I could also see the aspect of that gift of being able to conjure ancestral spirits, or in my Baptist church, it was the Holy Ghost. That's what they would say. It wasn't, you know, they may be talking and praying and talking about Big Mama, prayers left over, are still with us, or, but it would be ushering in a spirit. And that spirit would seemingly, like in that movie, go around and touch different people in that room, or vibe with them. So, there is something that we can give one another. One thing I don't believe that we can give one another, which I had this conversation earlier, is peace. That peace has to come from within. And I know some Hermetic principles, or the Hermetic principle that says, as within, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if it is something that is inside, there was something that, I know that there's laws of duality and polarity, and the law of correspondence and mentalisms and different things like that nature. I'm reciting now the Hermetic principles, but the the notion that my mom can't just hand me some peace. She can't just reach in a purse and give it to me. A word can be said to make you feel a certain way for a moment, but that peace has got to come from within you. And my cousin says, well, Johnny, man, when I was young and I was doing what I wanted to do, or you think about people, living their life, maybe not into the things that we consider morally sound, they at peace with what they do. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's innate. It's built in. They're okay with what they're doing, but we've a lot of us have found ourselves or have imposed upon ourselves certain imageries of how we are to be based on outside circumstances and outside our circumstances and surroundings and different things of that nature. You know what I'm getting at here. So I had some more stuff on this paper. Not much. I think I tapped into some of the things. I didn't delve into the adaptability as much because that is something that is a part of you when it comes to even having peace. There's a lot of different conversations and a lot of different things that I want to say. I know that this has been a long broadcast for our recording. It's over 30 minutes. I don't know how many people are going to stay to the end of this. If you did stay, I do appreciate it. And I hope that there was something in this that you was able to receive in your life, for you to conjure some thought about, what can be something to better your life. Or, now I'm going to repeat some of this in another broadcast also. Maybe in some shorts or something. My wife and I have had some wonderful conversations. I've had some wonderful conversations with a lot of good men throughout these last couple of years, almost 3 years since I initially had the thought process to start the YouTube channel. And there's so many conversations that I want to bring about. One definitely would be about meditative practices. And because I've had some people ask me about meditation and how do you meditate, and well, is your mind really, how do you get your mind quiet, or, is that even possible, and I can say that I am an adept practitioner, but this is just because I don't really want to say that I can do anything that you can't do. And I don't want to say that I'm at any level to be a teacher to anyone. Nevertheless, I will give you something to think about. So therefore you can find resources to indulge yourself in the practices that will suit you best for your life. So a conversation I was having with my wife, she was talking and she was talking about her anxiety about this fall and why she didn't do what she wanted to do because she didn't have what she needed, and her anxiety level was just a bit high. And she says that she did one of those. And I say, that's a meditative practice. That's a meditative practice right there. She was like, I say, when you breathe out, you exhale out like that, and your shoulders went down and your chest depressed, and your body, it's like your body automatically like, hey, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. Relaxing itself. So to focus on the breath is something, because that moment I began to talk to her and explain to her some of the methodology. One person, man, I love my family. One of my cousins actually told me about Paramahansa Yogananda and Mooji, Mooji. That's another, um, I would say, a person of a person that speaks about consciousness or mindfulness. One of the books I've read recently. This is not right here. Wise Mind Living by Aaron Oliver. That Aaron Olivier, I think. Regardless, Wise Mind Living. It's a good self-help book to help maintain and acknowledge your emotions. I think that emotions are really big factors as to how we act and the things that we bring into our reality based on how we feel. So to be able to be in control of how we feel, I think is a powerful tool. Now, the breath, I talked to my wife about the breath. I was like, feel the air going in through your nose, feel it going out your mouth. And as it's going out your mouth, that warm air, you know, just focus on the breath. Then I told her just focus on feeling the breath go in through her nostrils. It's cool. And if she blow out, it's warm. And the stuff that's going out, the air that's going out it's the stuff that doesn't serve your body, doesn't serve your mind any purpose. Let that go, let that go, let that go as you breathe out and breathe in the good stuff. And when you breathe out again after doing that a couple times, just start feeling, imagining. It's going to happen because you're not imagining. You're allowing your shoulders to be relaxed. Allowing, even if you're sitting up straight, your back to be relaxed. Allowing your hips to be relaxed. Allowing your legs, but it's best to kind of bounce, and that's not even something you don't have to think about it. It's practiced. It's practiced. It's okay, no matter how you start off. Let you let your cheeks relax. Whatever you can think of as far as you surveying your entire body, letting your eyebrows relax, and allowing your body to relax. And once you can allow your, and just focus on your breath. That's first step. You focus on your breath. The voices or voice in your mind will begin to not grasp your attention. If you think about it, you would say you're the thinker. I would say that the part of you is the listener. You're, I mean, yeah, their thoughts being generated. That's absolutely correct. Some stuff comes out of nowhere sometimes. It seems like, where did that thought even come from? As if someone whispered in your ear. So you are very much listening to your thoughts as they come about. And to be aware of your position in the scheme of things would be very ideal. So I keep rambling. There's so much more. This stuff keep popping up. I mentioned emotions. I want to talk about how emotions are tools in a certain way. And I know I've talked about it in other videos, but like I said, there are gonna be things that I'm gonna continue to repeat to everybody I speak to, because it has been some things that have really helped me not harm myself and others around me. So blessings, ashe, whatever you want to say. I, I, I just want the best for humanity as a whole. I would love to see unity amongst us, but I kind of got an idea of what it's gonna be. So for those who with me, I'm with you, and the rest we know where they're gonna be. I'm not worried about all of that. And culturally, I love my family. I love my family, and I tell my family that all the time. But it don't just stop there, man. There's something that we have to, and my opinion. So I think that if we can blur the lines, and I can't see behind your eyes to know the true you, regardless of what skin you're in. But I can see by your actions what you are and who you are. So I've been thinking. I wrote this song, and I'm gonna just continue to keep thinking, and I'm gonna try to build this up to be something positive for us all in the long run. Take care.